Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really happy to be here today. My name is Dalibor Mikuláš. I'm the Vice President and COO at the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library here in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. And again, I feel privileged to kick off this year, 2024, and to have a nice dialogue today. It's a fantastic day today because I'm not quite sure whether you know, but it's a National Dialogue Day here in this country. And Czechs and Slovaks, or Czech and Slovak, Czechoslovak Americans could be proud of the former president, the last Czechoslovak president and the first Czech president, Václav Havel, who was and still is one of the most significant politicians and thinkers as far as discussion, dialogue is concerned. So that's a unique story, and I think that the 5th of January is really a very nicely picked day for a discussion. Today, while paying attention to coffee and Kolach, we're going to be in a group, so it's not going to be just about two, but we have three gentlemen talking to you. Let me welcome here Bruce Hammers, who is the member of the Board of Trustees here at NCSML. Bruce is a very good friend, but by profession an architect, and so we have quite many interesting stories to be heard. In addition to that, we're going to speak a little bit about one major topic for today, which is NCSML TV, and here I would like to introduce Logan Schultz, the person responsible for the production of this program, and I believe also a very important partner for NCSML, who is so much connected with the concept of NCSML TV. So that would be a brief introduction. And now let me pay attention and let me focus this concept of NCSML TV. If I may, Logan, this topic is a topic that has been discussed here for years. And now finally we are in the middle of the process of getting ready for launching this special concept. So would you be able to describe to us, would you be able to summarize some introductory basic points related to NCSML TV? What's that like? What is it?
Yeah, thank you so much. So my name is Logan. We are with Upload Media. We're excited to be partners with the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. We've been producing content with the organization for a couple of years now. So you may have seen us around at events or concerts, getting video or photos, things like that. And part of our goal has always been to collect a nice, full, vibrant, and diverse collection of video and content that can be shared on a digital platform for the entire world. And that's what we envision NCSML TV to be. This is something akin to a Netflix, a Hulu, or other streaming services that you might enjoy, but it is hosted by the NCSML, and it is designed to be a centralized hub of digital content that tells the story of the Czech, Slovak, and immigrant people.
I like that simplification very much. So if I want to understand the concept of NCSML TV, I could define it like a Netflix-style online TV, right?
Right. So this is a streaming service that you'll be able to access on your computer, on your mobile devices, where you can go and stream videos, movies. You can do virtual exhibit tours that we've recorded here at the museum. You can, in some way, virtually attend some of our exciting events around here. It's really a way for people to engage even deeper with the organization, no matter where you are in the world, through this streaming service.
Good, good, good. So, in fact, I'm just looking at one of the leaflets that we prepared for this year. this is a special year. We know that it's a unique, a special year celebrating what has been accomplished in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and celebrating that Czech, Slovak, American stories. But most of all, this is the 50th anniversary of the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. So we have quite many events prepared for this year. I believe that we might mention some of them. Nevertheless, these events, according to the plan, they are going to be nicely recorded, edited, and are going to be displayed at our plant NCNSL TV. But I believe that there are also certain categories as far as the overall offer is concerned. Would you say any introductory words? What can we expect as far as programming is concerned? Is that going to be just about coffee and Kolach, or is that going to be more?
Coffee and Kolach will be on there, as well as some other original series that you can expect on a regular basis, where you can get behind-the-scenes stories and inside looks at what happens around the organization. But you're going to find a wide variety of things when you log into NCSML TV.
Excuse me for that. Last year, because it's already the 5th of January, last year I remember a fantastic concert here by Janara. Mm-hmm. And also I remember a concert by Jana Sibera. Can we find these concerts which were performed a year ago, last year, several months ago, or 2-3 years ago? Can we find these programs available there?
Our goal is to have as many events as possible that occur here living on that platform. So you probably will see some of those fantastic concerts that have taken place over the last few years, and you'll probably be able to find them on NCSML TV first when they happen in the future.
I know that, well, I must know that the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library is a Smithsonian affiliate. Mm-hmm. So within this organization, a huge network, there is certain capacity to share the documentaries, top-notch documentaries available through the Smithsonian. Are you planning to provide us with programs like these? Would that be possible?
That's the dream. Our goal, and you're going to see it grow and evolve throughout the year. We'll do a launch early in the year 2024, in this year. So there's going to be a lot to see, and I've spoken quite a bit about the content that we're producing here at the museum and library. But you're right, we're also hoping to make this a central hub for content from partners throughout the world. That may include the Smithsonian, that may include other affiliate partners, both here in the nation and abroad.
Thank you so much. So as I understand that the museum is really rich with exhibits, the museum and library has very nice library acquisitions, so I believe that this is it. This is what you are talking about. There's one additional thing. This museum in the recent 50 years has produced so many materials. Some of them refer to visual, video materials. Now I'm thinking of oral histories. And some extracts of these oral histories are available through the museum website and YouTube. But are you thinking of providing us with the full materials
catalog
that were recorded in the past and are considered to be really valuable? Is this the plan? Are we going to find the full interview with Madeleine Albright and people like these? Because this is what this museum has accomplished so far. And
I feel like you're setting me up for success with some of these questions. It's great. You're absolutely right. So we have this wide collection of oral histories, scholarly talks, Madeleine Albright, you talked about as well. Expect to see a great many of those when the program launches, along with classes and along with those concerts that you mentioned. We are excited to share a wide variety. You'll be able to scroll through and find things based on all sorts of themes. There's something for everybody, family content as well. We're excited to share it.
Perfect. So now I understand that there's plenty of stuff that we're going to provide and we're going to display at our NCMSL TV. But in addition, since I'm looking at the leaflet providing us with the information about what's going to happen this year, commemorating the 50th anniversary, I see many events like economic summit to be held over here. Interesting exhibits, just to mention Václav Havel exhibit, Alphonse Mucha exhibit. So this is that new stuff, very up to date, that we can expect there, right?
Absolutely. We're already working very closely with the staff here to plan how to tell these fantastic stories, share these exhibits, and create something really special based on the work being done here. We're pretty excited about it.
I see many collages here in the picture, so I guess that there will be quite a bit of cooking available as well.
I think that cooking is at the heart of any culture story, right? What sort of digital platform would we be if we didn't cover cooking? So you'll definitely see some of that on there as well.
Thank you for that. Thank you for that confirmation. And now I'm looking at another thing, which is it says grand opening of Prague-style Orloj. And this is something that we could pay attention to, because this is really something I consider that huge. But before we start talking about that, Logan, may I ask you please to play for us a short video so that we could stimulate ourselves for the coming discussion? So this is it. As I mentioned, I'm really happy that now I can discuss questions, interesting stories, and so much of the related agenda concerning Orloj, the astronomical clock that is supposed to be installed here in Cedar Rapids, here at the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. So, Bruce, I'm really happy. Thank you very much for being with us.
My pleasure.
As I mentioned, you are an architect by profession, but I have a supplementary question to you.
All right.
And that question is it's pretty fundamental. How Czech and Slovak, or Czechoslovak American you are?
Oh, that's a good question. I've grown up in the Czech culture. I actually am the second generation of my family on both my mother and father's side to have been born and raised in the United States. My four grandparents either were born in Czechoslovakia and emigrated as young children or infants, or were born here shortly after immigration. But my folks and I have been kind of the first generations that are truly American, and yet we grew up our entire lives with the Czech culture, Czech language. My great-grandfather didn't speak a word of English, and he lived here most of his life after immigration. He just, the Czech community here in Cedar Rapids was so supportive and so close-knit that he was able to shop and play and live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and still feel like he was immersed in the Czech culture here. And that was very special for those people who were immigrating. So I'm 100% Czech. All of my relatives were born in and around Prague, and I've had the chance to visit in 1976, and I can't wait to go back and visit again. But I'm an American, and a proud American, but I'm very proud of my Czech heritage.
Thank you so much. So we're getting closer and closer and closer. So from Cedar Rapids, Iowa, United States, we're getting to Central Europe. We heard Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic, Prague, and it's very close because we're going to speak about Prague-style Orloj. But talking about your Czechoslovak background, I think that it's really interesting to also to know, because we started talking about the National Dialogue Day today, and the dialogue these days is so important. We know what has been happening in Ukraine. We know what has been happening in Israel, and this brings me back again to that Czech and Czechoslovak concept, which is so much connected with dialogue, so much connected with the present-day president of the Czech Republic, Mr. Pavel, the president of the Slovak Republic, Mrs. Čaputová, the former president Václav Havel, but also the first Czechoslovak president Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk, who visited this place several times.
My grandfather actually met Thomas Masaryk.
And that's really something incredible, and it belongs to history, but it's also very relevant for these days. But again, back to something that is being planned for this place and is so much connected with history. So we have just seen a short video presenting the concept, the initial concept of the astronomical clock to be installed here in Cedar Rapids, where in the NCSML tower, so clock tower. So what is the story connected with this clock tower? What's the potential? What's the legacy beyond that? Would you be able to explain to us why we have the clock tower in 2024 in Cedar Rapids? How did that happen?
Yes, it's an interesting story, and I'm not sure that it's been told very often. I lived the history of it. I know much about it through anecdotal experiences of my own. I practiced architecture in Cedar Rapids for nearly 45 years, and I was born and raised here, as I indicated. I worked for a company called Brown, Healy, Stone and Sauer Architects, and they were commissioned in 1994 to design a tower, a clock tower, juxtaposed and next to the museum when it was on 16th Avenue, actually, before the flood and before we moved the building and enlarged it. And that's a fascinating story unto itself. But the clock tower was built in addition to that, and it was in place when the building was commemorated with the three presidents. And so it's always been a part of our campus, a part of our history. And I was fortunate enough as a very young architect in 1994 to be able to work with one of the senior partners in Brown, Healy, Stone and Sauer to assist in the design of the original clock tower. It was done on a budget, and the budget did not allow for an embellishment that we're considering now with the full mechanism of Orloj, astronomical clock, animated figurines, etc. It's an amazing opportunity to see something through that was cut short, or at least we weren't able to fully realize the ultimate possibilities back in the 90s because of budget. And so you actually see on the existing clock tower one set of oak doors that are fixed in place but appear like they could open at any moment. and that was a bit of a tease, a bit of an indication that something more was originally planned and may happen in the future. Well, that didn't happen for nearly 30 some years. This clock tower that exists now has survived 2 natural disasters, the flood of 2008 and then the derecho of 2 years ago. And unfortunately, the derecho really gave it a pretty good blow. The exterior skin has been severely damaged. Some of the mechanisms in the clock itself, both audio and the clocks, require quite a bit of maintenance because they were damaged during the derecho and are hard to repair. But there's always a silver lining, and the silver lining of this is that when we realized that we had to invest some money, and we did have some insurance money, to be able to repair the clock tower. That was our original step. About a little more than a year ago, we said, well, all right, we have insurance money, here's the damage, we'll just repair it to its original form. The clock on each of the 4 sides, and repair and or replace, but in a similar manner, the skin of the clock tower above the brick and below the metal roof, which was the part that was mostly damaged. That created an opportunity, and a generous benefactor stepped forward and said, well, I understand that the idea was someday possibly to add to, embellish, develop the clock tower into something more like the Prague Orloj in Old Town, in downtown Prague. And the answer was, of course, that was the hope, but we've never been able to afford to do that. And his generosity has now given us the catalyst to be able to make that actually happen. So what you saw in the video is the conceptual ideas. It's not fully fleshed out yet, and that's the exciting part, is that we're getting a chance to talk to you today about the early steps. We're effectively right between the early concepts and the design development of this. We will then this summer go into construction documentation, and the person that we've hired in Prague, Spell Company, is actually beginning work on the mechanisms that will go into it, the astronomical clock, the carousel that will make the figurines move, the doors that will open and close, all are part of his work, and he's working on those right now. So the ball has been set in motion. We're looking forward to further developments, lots of decisions yet to be made, but we're in the process of making this happen, and the beauty is that later this summer, as a part of our 50th anniversary of the founding of the organization, we're going to be able to unveil a truly reimagined Orloj clock tower for the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library, and we're so excited about that.
Before we do that, I think there are still many interesting areas that we can discuss today. And we have already heard the word Orloj,
Yes.
right? I still remember when we last year or the year before, when we came up with this term, it took a while for the members of the Board of Trustees to master and to pronounce this
That is
word
correct.
correctly. That's not the situation today. I think that each and every member of the Board of Trustees knows perfectly what's Orloj like. What is it like? What's that about?
Well, first of all, let's talk about the Board of Trustees and their support of this possibility, because the donation of the initial funds were just the start. We still have to raise some additional funds to make this happen, but we're within striking distance. We've had great support from additional donors, corporate sponsorships, the city, others that are willing to see our vision and realize that this is a game-changing development. It's the reimagination of the clock tower. It will still be the same size, the same shape, the same location. The roof and the masonry base with the arches will not change. What changes is in between the stone base and the roof. that entire part of the clock tower will be stripped away, rebuilt, and that's where the mechanism will happen. And this will be a 4-sided clock tower. Right now we have 4 clocks, but really nothing else to look at. And so you look at one side and you see all sides. That will not be the case in our future reimagination.
Yes, we know that one side would display this astronomical clock.
Yes.
What could we expect? What is that? You said that it's a mechanism, right?
It is. It is a mechanism.
And at the same time, I said that what we are planning is a Prague-style horloge. So how, obviously, we can take a look at the website, we can read some books, but in a simplified way, how would you define horloge? How would you define that? Is that a new thing, old thing? Why do we call it Prague style?
Yes, it's a lot of all of those things, and that's the thing that I really like about this is we do not intend to just rubber stamp copy what exists in Old Town in Prague. The Prague horloge is a 15th century clock, astronomical clock, mechanism with doors that open and figurines that move, and it's a focal point of almost everybody who visits Prague wants to go see the Prague horloge. Crowds will gather 15 to 20 minutes in advance of the chiming of the hour just to wait to see what's going to happen at the top of the hour. Likewise, that's what we expect here. We expect a run of show that will be something that people will actually schedule their lives around, that they will come knowing that if they arrive at 9:15, that 45 minutes later they're going to be standing in front of the tower waiting for the magic to happen. And that's exciting in and itself because we're creating something that doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. There are only a handful of horloge astronomical type clocks, just a few. 3 of those are in the former Czechoslovakia, the Czech Republic and Slovakia. And so it's a matter of this being not only a special thing for the museum, a special thing for Cedar Rapids, Eastern Iowa, and the United States, because it will be the only one in the United States, but also it will be something that will be iconic, will be a crowd-drawing mechanism. It will put Cedar Rapids and the National Czech and Slovak Museum on the map if it isn't already. And that's the exciting part about it, is that it's the finalization, the realization of an early dream that the folks who financed and built the original tower actually had for this, is they hoped that this would actually happen someday. And now, because of our recent disasters, especially the derecho and the significant damage that occurred to the tower, we have the opportunity to now make that happen, to reimagine the original clock tower into something spectacular, something I continue to use the word game changer because I do believe it is. I believe it will be iconic for Cedar Rapids, and people will know the museum and this area because of this facility.
Thank you for that. You mentioned that we have a partner, NCSML has a partner down there in Central Europe in Prague. We're talking about Prague-style horloge, so I'm not so much surprised by hearing that our partner company providing and shipping this astronomical clock from Prague is from Prague.
It is.
So who's the partner? Can you tell us something more about when did we get in touch with this partner? Are we in the communication with this partner? Has this partner already visited this place? You said that it's Spell Company, right?
It is Spell Company. They have their workshop in downtown Prague. They are a long-standing clock maker, if you will. They make custom clocks and clock towers. This will be the second horloge clock that they have been commissioned to do. The first one is in Staré Bystrica in Slovakia, and just like our horloge clock will not be a direct copy or knockoff of the Prague horloge, it will also not be a knockoff or copy or rubber stamp of the one in Slovakia, it will have elements of both. It will be similar to both. It will be created, the mechanisms will be created by the company who created the one in Slovakia. So they're not learning on the job. So Dr. Kolach is the one who gets credit for finding the spell company and our partner, Vít Spiedlin. He is a wonderful gentleman who has had the chance to visit the United States and Cedar Rapids. He came here for Brunost last year, spent a week in Cedar Rapids. He's been up inside the tower, has visited with us extensively during that time, taking measurements and what have you. And then Dr. Kolach and I meet with him almost on a weekly basis via Zoom. And we have these wonderful hour-long conversations about the development of the clock. Again, as I say, it's not completely finished design. We are somewhere between conceptual development and design development, which will be finalized early in February. And then the rest of the year up until the end of September, early October is the actual time when we will be stripping off the skin of the tower, rebuilding it to the new design, and it will be a lot different. There is so much more going on the new Orloj clock tower than exists today. You'll recognize it, but you'll also see it as a completely different element. It's the same base, the same roof, the same structure, but the skin will be different, and all four sides of the clock tower will have something magical happening on them. And it will be definitely something that people will come from a long ways away, I believe, and gather on an hourly basis to see this happen.
I'm really glad that I see so much of enthusiasm, and the fact that you are excited about that is, to me, something like a proof that we have been following a nice direction, nice track. And it's also good to hear that this is a Czech and Slovak story, because surprise, we are here at the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library in the States. So far we have heard stories related to one side of those four facets, four sides of the clock tower. And you said that we have been working on that for something like a year.
Yes.
But there are four sides of the towers. Are there any other stories to be told?
Yes.
And I know that you like, Bruce, I know that. I know that you don't like just one part of the story or just one segment that you want to see. And this is logical. You are an architect, so you want to see the overall picture. There are some dangerous sides of that, because many times when you want to see the complex picture, then you have to be ready with the budget. But what's the story like as far as those, or what are those stories like as far as those four sides are concerned?
That's a great question, and let me start with the primary side, the side that faces upriver and is faced mostly toward the museum. Of course, Cedar Rapids is not set up on a compass point orientation, and so nothing on our campus or anything in Cedar Rapids actually points straight north or south or what have you. But the side of the clock tower that faces back toward the museum will be the primary side, which will have the astronomical clock. It will tell, we just went over this the day before yesterday, and it even amazed us on how many different stories the astronomical dial will tell. But that will be a new element that doesn't exist right now, as well as a clock face that will be up near the top of the tower, and in between will be two doors. They will open and you will see two carousels, 6 figures on each carousel. During the chiming of the hour, there will be this, what I call a run of show. It will last several minutes, and there will be these figurines that will rotate on this carousel that you can't see, and they will appear at each of the two doors telling a story. Well, who are those figurines? We're not sure yet, but we're thinking that they will tell the story of immigration. They will tell the story of Czech and Slovak history. They will tell the story of how our culture and the culture of the Czech Republic and Slovakia have merged over the last 20 to 30 years. There will be all sorts of different opportunities. We may even have seasonal figurines that may be switched out, say at Christmas time, to have Svatý Mikuláš appear. So we have all sorts of interesting and possibilities here. But then on the other sides, as Dalibor has asked, is that we don't want to just have 3 other blank sides. So we will have a clock face on all 4 sides. It will be brand new clock faces that are be a lot more interesting to look at. But then below the clock faces, on the side that faces the river and the side that faces the avenue, we will have a decorative panel that will again be done by an artist that will tell the story of immigration, of perhaps the 3 presidents visiting Cedar Rapids and dedicating the museum, perhaps the fact that we moved the museum, the idea that we have in Cedar Rapids an east side and a west side, and we'll have an east side of the clock tower and a west side of the clock tower, and there may be a little bit of that as well. We have a great deal of opportunity there to make these 2 art pieces really tell the story that we're trying to tell here at the museum of immigration, freedom, democracy, as well as just the Czech and Slovak cultures. And then on the side that faces 16th Avenue, where you drive by and look up at the tower, we'll have a sundial and also a surprise that we're not going to reveal right now. So there are a number of things still in development and some whimsical, fun things that I can't wait to have you see when we unveil this in and around the Brunost timeframe, end of September, early October.
Thank you very much for mentioning the whole concept, and not just the astronomical clock, but also the sundial, because I think that it's not a secret that we have been in close collaboration with Collins Aerospace.
Yes.
And the plans now are connected with our educational activities that we have been very active with throughout the years here at the museum. And now I'm talking about the STEM approach, where very difficult and challenging areas such as mathematics, physics, astronomy are going to be nicely incorporated in our educational activities by the means of the 5th station paying attention to how to play with even most difficult areas belonging to natural sciences. But that's the plan, and this is something to be discussed again later. When talking about the remaining two sites, you mentioned that this place was visited by 3 presidents, and here I believe that you are talking about 1995, right?
That is correct. Shortly after the completion of the tower.
Yes. Don't you think that talking about President Clinton, President Kolach, President Havel, a while ago we heard about the visits paid by Tomáš Garrigue Masaryk, who was the president of Czechoslovakia and
Founding president.
So don't you think that this is also something not just related to the past, but very much to the present days?
Very much, and that's the exciting part of being a part of this, that Dr. Mikuláš and I and others working with the Museum Board of Trustees and Building Committee have had a chance to ask questions like, what's the big idea? What do we want to accomplish here? And then further, we get to ask what if. Those are the 2 most powerful words to me as an architect, is what if. What if we considered doing this? Or what if we thought about that? Or what if this didn't go this way but went that way? The idea of creative problem solving has always excited me as an architect, and I get a chance to involve myself in this as a client now, and see how these artistic panels might evolve. We don't know what they look like yet. It's January of 2024, the anniversary year. By September, they'll be in place, and people will be looking at them and reading them and understanding them, or imagining what they say, because we don't think that it'll be a single story that these panels show. It may be a mural-like device that has many stories on each of the two sides. But it also affords us an opportunity to have a dichotomy, East versus West, old versus new, America versus the old country. Those sort of dichotomies can be explored in art as well, and so it's really exciting.
And in addition, on the top of that, I personally, I think that the timing is really good, because NCMSL, with its community, Czech Village Nubo, we're coming up with something very relevant, interesting, now and here in 2024 in Cedar Rapids. And meanwhile, Cedar Rapids is planning the development for 2025 and 2026. I'm talking about the promenade.
Yes.
I'm talking about about the roundhouse, the gateways, and so on and so forth. So it really looks like a plan. And since I know that we have been in a very close communication with the city, I think that this really is something like an indication that we're not just dreaming, but we're talking about something that is going to happen, and that is going to bring interesting traffic to the city, to this region, to this state. Now, still, in addition to this, I have to say that the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library has very good collaboration with the Czech and Slovak embassies to the states, in Washington, in New York, in Chicago, and elsewhere. We do have also a nice collaboration with the American embassies in Prague, and to Bratislava, and this is also very relevant and important and significant for us, because it provides an important background and important incentives for the project team. So now, talking about NCSML Orloy project team, is that just us? Is that just the staff here, the president, the board of trustees, or do we have some other partners talking about the project?
We do. We mentioned Spell Company, which Dr. Kolach actually discovered on one of his visits back to to the Czech Republic. We had actually been looking at other folks who were bell manufacturers and tower constructors, but not necessarily somebody who actually had executed what we were trying to do. And again, I want to emphasize that what we're doing here is totally and completely unique. It will be it will be similar to several of the existing Orloys in the world, the handful that exist, but it will also be uniquely ours. And so finding the Spell Company and establishing a relationship with Vít Špídlin, and having him come to Cedar Rapids and get to know him and spend time actually in the guts of the tower, talking about what could happen, the what ifs, were discussed right there, then and there. Now he speaks a little bit of English, but for the most part, he has to translate his comments through Dalabar, and also our other partner, which is Newman Munson of Iowa City. And they are our architects, and we're working with Graham Construction as our contractor. And they are major partners in this. They have been with us during the entire conceptualization process, helping us understand the financial impacts of our dreams, our wishes, our wants. And they will be with us through the end of that. But they also have a native born, I think he's a Slovak, is he not? Is Marek a Slovak or a Czech?
He's Czech.
He's a Czech, okay. So Marek is actually an architect in the Newman Munson organization, and he's part of our design team. And so he also helps with those translations. And actually, Marek and Viteslav from Spell have weekly conversations offline in order to make sure that everything is running smoothly. So we have an architect, we have a contractor, and we have a custom clock and Orloy astronomical clock designer, developer, fabricator. So not only does he design the clock, he builds it and installs it. And then he will be involved in helping us maintain it as we go down the road, because we want something that is resilient, something that is durable, something that will not be damaged by floods or high wind events. And so this has always been in the background of our minds. We've experienced 2 catastrophic natural disasters. How will what we do on this clock tower be able to be done in a way that stands up to those kind of events in the future? Because we expect that they will probably happen again.
I think that, thank you so much. I think that in addition to that, it's perfect to see that we have been also in a communication with the city of Cedar Rapids.
The city and with corporate sponsorships.
And I'm not quite sure whether you are familiar with the legend, which goes together with Prague-style Orloy. There are many of them, but one of them says that if an Orloy is neglected, the consequence is that it puts the city into danger. So it really...
We will not ignore our Orloy once we built it.
Here I'm talking about the cities that legend says that the cities should pay attention, and I'm really happy that we have a very good communication with the mayor, with the city manager, and with all the supporting
They
staff.
seem extremely excited about what we are planning here, and they see the value to our organization, but beyond that to the city and to Eastern Iowa for tourism, for putting us on the map, if you will, and their support has been tremendous and ongoing.
Yeah, I heard that you mentioned that now we have been meeting online with several partners. Last year, I know that we set up the system on the basis of bi-weeklies. This month, we started meeting
on a weekly basis.
Weekly.
Yeah, because a lot of decisions need to be made within the next 60 days. If we think that we've just scratched the surface of the detailed decision making that has to happen between now and when real construction starts to take place in early springtime.
Well, the frequency is really very promising, and also the partners representing architects, representing constructions, representing stakeholders. This is really a very promising potential that we have, and I believe that we're going to have more and more news coming every and each month. So since we're a little bit behind the time, one of my last questions for you. When can we expect the installation of this phenomenal mechanism?
All right, that's a great concluding question. So as I said, the mechanism itself, the clock, the astronomical clock, the carousel, the sound system, the integration of all of that has started in Czech Republic. That fabrication will commence and continue through the springtime, and sometime this summer, we expect maybe in the early August timeframe, a shipping container will be loaded up in Prague and be sent to the United States. Spell and Vít will be here to uncrate and begin the installation process, which could take a number of weeks, maybe even a month. And we are expecting, it's hard to pinpoint dates with great accuracy with something as complicated and as involved as this, but our expectation is when people gather here for Brunost in late September, there will be a sneak peek, if not a more formal unveiling, maybe a soft opening, if you will. So let's call it a sneak peek. And then shortly thereafter, in October, toward the end of October, we will be formally celebrating our 50th anniversary of the founding of this organization and the groups that created the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. And that's when we expect to have a full grand opening of the museum. We have a question from the audience.
This is so exciting, but can't you speed it up a little bit? I'm 87 and I want to see it. I want to be there.
My mother's 90. She wants to as well.
I'm going to call her.
We'll do everything we can, Marge.
Yeah, but the question, I'm not quite sure whether the microphones got that, but the question is related to the timing. I think that we are going to be patient, and I heard some good news. I'm not quite sure whether you are supposed to answer my question, but maybe you can at least indicate what's going to happen. So we're going to be very patient. We're going to wait until that moment comes and the mechanism is installed. Should we have any expectations as far as the dignitaries are concerned?
I think we're going to keep that a bit under wraps, and I think we're going to just tease you with the idea that there are many elements that we are planning as the Board of Trustees to celebrate our 50th anniversary. This is just one of them, and we're trying to coordinate all of those efforts, and it's going to be an exciting time for the museum, for the current members of the museum, all of you who are watching this who aren't yet members. Be a great time for you to join and become part of our celebration later this fall. And I think we'll just leave it at that with a tease.
Yeah, but I have to add that I have heard good news from
all sorts of things
from
in
the
play.
Embassies, and maybe we can stop it over here. Thank you so much for sharing with us so many pieces of information. I think that now we just need to keep on working, keep on rolling, and it's going to be a very, very interesting year, talking about 2024 here in Cedar Rapids, connected with the National Czech and Slovak Museum and Library. Getting back to Logan, to you, I think that now you know that there are going to be more and more interesting things appearing at our NCSML TV that we briefly introduced at the beginning of this program. What to say? Fingers crossed. All of those who are watching this program under the title Coffee and Kolach, if you want to be with us, just please join us. There are so many ways how you can join us. You can become volunteers. You can become members. You can contact us, the president, the vice president, the board of trustees, the members of the board of trustees, and you can enjoy this fantastic plan for 2024. Thank you very much for your attention, and looking forward to the new news coming in the coming weeks and months. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I can see that the NCSML will soar in '24.
Ooh, it sounds like a logo or a slogan to me.
It's my genism for the year. Yeah.
Let's hope for that.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.